And here we are in Tralee, Ireland, ready to head up the mountain.
It's all snake with the fish. So it's very nice.
Our fearless leader got us here safe and sound. Oh my gosh. Sheep are buying.
I should get the ashes, shouldn't I? Nice. I forgot the ashes.
Did you find the ashes?
Huh?
Find the ashes?
I found them. That's minor detail. Yes.
That is why we're here.
Yes, right. We had to have death certificate.
Wow.
And everything packed in with the luggage. But everybody
So
was
did they
fine
pull
with
it
that.
out?
I don't know that they did. Didn't look like they did, but had no problem.
I wondered why you were buying all those shot glasses.
No.
Now I know.
Now you know. It's just like, well, what do? You just dump the bag out? Well, that's kind of gross. So I Googled it, of course. And people do different things. And so I thought, little Irish shot glasses would be perfect. Each person can take a little shot of ashes and scatter them wherever they wish.
Just so they don't have to drink them, we're in good shape.
That's right. Or have it fly back on you.
Yeah.
Mind the wind, as they say. Mind the breeze.
No, I wouldn't mention so.
Thank you all for coming. I don't know if I'm going to make it through but a few words, but I will try. Geoff and I were so fortunate to have such great friends over the years. And I thank you from the bottom of my heart for making this trek to Ireland. And all of those who could not be with us in person, we know you're with us in spirit today, and we thank you for that. It's still pretty raw, even after a year. But what we'll do here today is maybe tell a few stories, and Phil is going to read a poem by an Irish poet. Michael has a reading to do, and if anybody wants to say anything, that's great, and the boys are going to play a little music for us too. And I know I've probably told all of you this story at one time or another, but I'll say it again. For years, long before Geoff was sick, he would joke and say, now when I die, I'm going to be cremated, and you have to take me, and he'd say this mountain, and I never really paid attention, I'm sorry, to some mountain in Ireland, and I would say, I'm not climbing no damn mountain. I'll take you up in a helicopter and I'll dump you out.
And you were right. You didn't climb any damn mountain.
That's right. Hallelujah. So it was just one of those things we joked about for years. And then when he really got sick, it was like, oh crap, what was the name of that mountain again? Okay, Mount Branden, he said, just outside Dublin. Okay, fine, great, no problem, we will do it. We'll make that happen. So I talked to my travel agent, and she says, well, it's a little further than just outside Dublin. It's about 6 hours outside Dublin, but we are here. We made it thanks to Martin and a great vehicle. And Geoff is not a real religious kind of person, but Kevin O'Sullivan then, oh, hand me that book, please. Kevin O'Sullivan, who I've not met, Captain O'Sullivan, but who's a good friend of Anita's, was the one who sent me this book about Dingle and Branden. And so I'm just looking through it, figuring out, oh my gosh, how on earth are we going to get up to Mount Branden? I'm not going to climb. What are we going to do? And I ran across this one area that it says, in the footsteps of saints. A board of the car park describes the path of the saints, and there's a Gaelic name too, an old pilgrimage road linked with St. Branden. There's also a new stone memorial dedicated to people who followed in the path of St. Branden for the cure of cancer. So I'm confirming this by email with Captain O'Sullivan, saying, now you're sure we don't have to walk very far, right? We can just drive up there. And he sent this beautiful photo of this wonderful memorial. I said, that's it. That's where we're going to go. This will be just perfect. So, Michael, would you tell the story, please, of when you met Geoff first?
And the sun came out.
And the sun came out. Thank you, Geoff. And the story of when you guys came and climbed Branden.
Very quickly. This morning when I woke up, I thought I have to really kind of count in tens. It's 40 years ago, this July, when I came here with Geoff, and he had arrived from Berlin. I don't know why we came here. I don't know where we stayed here, but I do now. Somewhere here, he had a camper van, an orange bus, and I had a tent. And some of us stayed in tents, some stayed in the camper van. Next day, blue sky, wonderful temperatures. We decided, let's burn off the alcohol, I think, and we climbed this mountain. And I remember he talking about his time and his father with Hopi Indians in Arizona, and about the spiritualism of just Hopi Indians. I knew nothing about Hopi Indian culture, but I remember at the top with Kevin O'Mahony, a friend of mine who now lives in Santa Monica. And Geoff was saying, what a place to be buried, what a place to die. And I thought, hello, get over it. We need to get to Dingle, we need stocks of alcohol and all the things. We were all 18, 20 years of age. And anyway, here we are today.
Yeah.
I thought, unbelievable, to send him off. And I was laughing because I thought, you've really brought him to the edge of the Atlantic.
Yeah.
And a great place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great place to end your days.
Absolutely.
Yeah. A friend of mine who is a massage therapist actually in Chandler. Geoff and I knew her for years, and she's just a very spiritual person, does all kinds of wonderful massage, and Geoff had gone to her, and she also did oncology massage too, and she was studying that as well. And so Geoff really liked her a lot, and she told me about this Irish poet, John O'Donoghue. Am I saying that correct? Mm-hmm. And O'Donoghue apparently died rather suddenly just a few years ago, at the age of about 54, 55, I think. And so this is a poem that he had written, but that was also read at his service when he died quite suddenly, and people were so shocked that he died. But I did get permission from the people in his organization to include the poem in this.
Well, let me just say first that when I read it to Pam the other day, the first time I read it, she said, it's a great poem, but a beautiful poem, but it's kind of maudlin the way you read it.
Oh.
And I said, well, you have to remember, I'm Irish, and
that's right.
And as Yeats said, being Irish, talking about another fellow Irishman, he said, being Irish, he had an abiding sense of tragedy, which was sustained him through temporary periods of joy. So that's kind of what the Irish are beset with. But anyway, this is a hopeful poem, but there's also some, there's some melancholy in it as well. On the Death of the Beloved by John O'Donoghue. Though we need to weep your loss, Geoff, you dwell in that safe place in our hearts where no storm or might or pain can reach you. Your love was like The dawn, brightening over our lives, awakening beneath the dark, a further adventure of color. The sound of your voice found for us a new music that brightened everything. Whatever you unfolded in your gaze, quickened in the joy of its being. You placed smiles like flowers on the altar of the heart. Your mind always sparkled with wonder at things. Though your days here were brief, your spirit was live, awake, complete. We look towards each other no longer from the old distance of our names. Now you dwell inside the rhythm of breath, as close to us as we are to ourselves. Though we cannot see you with outward eyes, we know our soul's gaze is upon your face, smiling back at us from everything within which we bring our finest refinement. Let us not look for you only in memory, where we would grow lonely without you. You would want us to find you in presence beside us when beauty brightens, when kindness glows and music echoes eternal tones. When orchids brighten the earth, darkest winter has turned to spring. May this dark grief flower with hope in every heart that loves you. May you continue to inspire us to enter each day with a generous heart to serve the call of courage and love until we see your beautiful face again in that land where there is no more separation, where all tears will be wiped from our mind, and where we will never lose you again.
Constantine Kafafi, who's a Greek poet but was born in Alexandria in Egypt. And many, many years ago I kind of became aware of his poetry, and I spoke to Geoff many times about it, and because it's really classical, I wrote down just a very tiny brief, because there's a few names I thought that maybe the boys wouldn't know, but it's because there are words like Lystrogonians in it, and Lystrogonians were a mythical tribe of gigantic cannibals. You have the Poseidon, the god of the sea, because I thought, well, there is the sea, it often rages, and the Cyclops being a gigantic one-eyed monster. And it said this poem is not about a fantastic voyage or a guy overcoming some imaginary difficulties and returning back home. It is an inner self quest for rediscovery who you really are, and at some time it's the celebration of human nature and the capability of achieving your goals, even if it means that you have to go through the worst difficult and unexpected obstacles to reach them. That's basically what it's about. And I'll read it, it's just a few lines. It says, setting out on your voyage to Ithaca, you must pray that the way be long, full of adventures and experiences. The Lystrogonians and the Cyclops, the angry Poseidon, don't be afraid of them. You will never find such things on your way, if only your thoughts be high and a select emotion touch your spirit and your body. The Lystrogonians, the Cyclops, the Poseidon raging, you will never meet them unless you carry them within your soul. If your soul does not raise them up before you, you must pray that the way be long, many be the summer mornings, when with what pleasure, with what delight, you enter harbours never seen before. At Phoenician trading stations you must stop, and you must acquire good merchandise, mother of pearl, coral, amber and ebony, and sensuous perfumes of every kind. As much as you can of sensuous perfumes. You must go to many cities of Egypt. You must learn from and still learn from those who know. You must always have Ithaca fixed in your mind. Arrival there is your predestination. But do not hurry the voyage at all. Better that it should last for many years. Be quite old when you anchor at the island, rich with all you have gained on your way, not expecting Ithaca to give you riches. Ithaca has given you the lovely journey. Without Ithaca, you would have not set out in the first place. Ithaca has no more to give you now. Poor though you find it, Ithaca has not cheated you. Wise as you have become with all your experiences, you will have now understood the meaning of an Ithaca. So now,
Geoff found his Ithaca.
and it's here.
It is.
Thank you for bringing it. Great journey.
Perfect.
Very good.
That was
priest book one time from Ireland and
And
I
an
had to-
angel book.
Had that Avatar, please Geoff, I'm not a holy roller now because I really didn't want to scare him. But I can certainly feel him around us today. And that little message to you earlier at the shop,
yes.
don't think that was any accident at all.
Now who's the yellow one?
Devin, I don't think you heard,
He
but
made
this
it
ring that
yellow.
your dad had, I'd never been able to translate it. When you were sleeping, we went to this Ogum place, and it's your name. It's Devin on there. Yeah. So someday I'll give it to you. Geoff also loved St. Bridget's Cross, and this was, he would say that I'm a tinker today because I've got all this stuff on today, but this is, this one, let me get this out. This is St. Bridget's Cross, and he wore it for years, and we have one that's more of a natural material above Devin's store, and then there's some Celtic pieces on here that he just loved the area. So here's the plan. Geoff donated his body to Science. It was a company called Science Care, and they called me at one point and said, well, we have this study that we'd like to see if you'd be willing to have your husband be part of, and it was in dealing with military safety for soldiers. And his parents were both in the military, and I said, absolutely, that'd be great. So I've also taken Geoff different places in our travels, in my travels since his death, because he was a great traveler. And so I took him in a little morphine pill bottle that morphine was his friend, he said, for the last couple of years. So I'd take him a little to Avila Beach and to Hawaii and to wherever I've been. So here's what remains. And then I saved a cup because I found a company that will actually make a diamond out of the ashes and combination with my hair. You put my hair and the ashes together, and because his eyes were crystal blue, I'm going to have a blue diamond made. Got little Irish shot glasses. And so I thought we'll just take a little scoop, and then you can scatter them wherever you want, in the water or wherever, and do that just on your
I
own.
always love his sense of humor, his dry sense of humor. Like
Yes.
I do too.
Like
he just reacts to
the
stuff.
guitar.
I know. He always had one-liners, always had great comments.
Put everything in, brought everything down to a nice, comfortable, civil nature.
And even when he was just coming out of surgery and he was in the hospital room and the nurse came over and said, oh, you're looking pretty good.
Really?
And he says, oh, you probably say that to all the guys. And just didn't miss a beat, you know.
I don't know where I got this saying, but it sounds like something Geoff would say. Just because you're paranoid doesn't mean nobody's after you.
He's here. One thing that we had met, a good friend of ours who was one of the city council members, and his name is Kevin. Say, Pam, this is for you.
Okay.
And Kevin Harkey was his name, and his wife had also had breast cancer, and so he and Geoff would share stories about that. And at one point, Geoff was out after recovering, and we ran into Kevin, and saying, hey, good to see you, and this is a minister now. Minister says, better to be seen than viewed.
Oh boy.
And I was like, oh my goodness, well, so that was Geoff's line for some time after that. Oh, better to be seen than viewed. And if you didn't look out, he would whip up his shirt and say, oh, you want to see my scar? I was like, honey, not everybody wants to see your scar, because it was huge, and everything, but he liked to show that. Against me?
Yeah.
So I go that way. Yeah. Huh? Sure. Okay. Okay, that's a good dirt to do. But that'll be, yeah, we can wash them out.
Excuse me. That's the thing I'm getting. Mommy, I got one. It's white.
It'll be a good shot for you.
It would be quite loud. Oh, that's a lot. Look, it's a whole box. Now you can just place one and then glass.
Dust to dust.